Welcome to the House of Representatives. Your safety is our top priority. Please take a moment to familiarize yourself with our emergency exit plan. First, remember that illuminated exit signs will always show you the way. Please remain calm and follow these signs in an orderly manner. Now, for your specific location. If you are on the plenary floor, exits are at both ends, leading to the north and south wing lobbies. You may also use the main entrance glass doors, which open toward the flagpole area. If you are in the middle gallery, your primary exit is through the main entrance glass doors, located near the flagpole area. If you are in the second or third floor galleries, in addition to the main door on your level, emergency exits are located at the ends of the seat rows on both the east and west sides. All these exits will lead you to the main hallway stairways, going down to the main entrance and out to the flagpole area. A quick guide. If you are on the south side of the gallery, turn right as you go through the emergency exit. If you are on the north side, turn left. Both will lead you towards the main hallway stairways. If you are seated at the rostrum, your nearest exits are on the north and south sides, leading directly to the rear entrance lobby and out to the helipad area. Finally, if you are unable to leave the plenary hall, do not panic. Essential safety items, a hard hat, whistle, bottled water, and flashlight are readily available under your table for your immediate use. Thank you for your attention. Your safety is our shared responsibility.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up additional reference of business for the day and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as communications and committee reports.
Is there any objection? Here's none. Motion is approved. The Secretary General is directed to read the titles of the bills and resolution on first reading, as well as communication and committee reports. or referral to the appropriate committees.
Additional reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill 7480, requiring the use of plain language in all government-issued public advisories, notices, announcements, and similar documents, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill 7481, establishing a rental housing subsidy program for informal settler families, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill 7482, establishing the Grassroots Athlete Development Center in every municipality, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Bill 7483, providing for a 10,000 peso across-the-board increase in the basic monthly salary of all public elementary and secondary school teachers, by Representative Baronda.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill 7485, renewing for another 25 years the legislative franchise granted to Polytechnic Foundation of Cotabato and Asia Incorporated, by Representative Cruzado.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill 7488, amending the Act to exempt the publisher, editor, or reporter of any publication from revealing the source of published news or information obtained in confidence, by including within its coverage journalists from broadcast, news agencies, and internet publications, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill 7489, restructuring and strengthening the PNP, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7490, granting PWDs who are self-employed a 70% government subsidy for their monthly premium contributions to the SSS for the first 3 months of coverage, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill 7491, increasing the recruitment quota requirement of female PNP officers, by Representative Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7492, amending Section 40 of the Philippine National Police Reform and Reorganization Act of 1998, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7493, mandating annual psychiatric, psychological, drug, and physical tests for police officers, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7494, defining private armies, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7495, requiring business establishments all over the Philippines to install CCTV cameras in their place of business as a means to deter crime, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7496, providing communication accessibility to Filipino deaf and hard of hearing for full inclusion into the mainstream of society, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill 7497, deterring and punishing the establishment and operation of criminal street gangs, recruitment of individuals to participate in the commission of gang crimes, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7498, to eradicate racketeers and powerful syndicates in the Philippines, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7499, to establish a national center for information and technical assistance relating to all types of family resource and support programs, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill 7500, strengthening and modernizing the BFP, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7501, establishing a forensic DNA database in the Philippines, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7502, transferring the internal security operation functions from the AFP to the PNP, establishing the PNP Auxiliary Force, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7503, providing for a Magna Carta for journalists, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill 7504, requiring mandatory autopsy on bodies of crime victims, deaths under mysterious and suspicious circumstances, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7505, establishing the National Police Clearance System, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill 7506, establishing a National Sex Offender Registration Database, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7507, mandating that the PNP Academy select one cadet each from every congressional district every year to comprise its class, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7508, providing compulsory welfare insurance program for all overseas contract workers, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Overseas Workers and Affairs,
House Bill 7509, providing for the strengthening of the recruitment, selection, and appointment process of uniformed personnel of the PNP, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7510, providing for the revitalization and capability enhancement of the PNP, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7511, implementing stricter measures on the regulation and control of the use, manufacture, sale, and distribution of PNP uniforms, insignias, and accoutrements, and providing for punishment on the illegal production, sale, and use of the same, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7512, conferring the cadets of the PNP Academy the status of a government employee and granting them with civil service eligibility and benefits and privileges, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7513, to strengthen the charter of the PNP Academy, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7514, prohibiting the PNP or any person from designating gangs by their hometown, region, or religious or ethnic community, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7515, upgrading the rank structure of the uniformed members of the BFP and the BJMP, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7516, to strengthen disciplinary mechanisms in the PNP, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7517, providing telecommunication systems accessibility to the hearing impaired and speech impaired, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities,
House Bill 7518, further amending the Private Security Agency law to regulate the organization and operation of private detective, watchmen, or security guard agencies, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7519, providing for uniform requirements and/or procedures for making arrests, by Representatives Rodriguez Rufus and Rodriguez Maximo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill 7520, converting the LTO Extension Office located in Navotas City into a regular LTO District Office, by Representative Dianco.
to the Committee on Transportation,
House Bill 7521, creating the Philippine Transport Safety Authority, by Representative Odocado.
to the Committee on Transportation,
House Bill 7522, reclassifying certain public lands within the strip of land 5 kilometers from either side of the Aspiras Highway from Agoo, La Union to the Tuba, Benguet, covered by Proclamation 1754 as alienable and disposable lands, by Representatives Garcia, Dante, and Tereng.
to the Committee on Natural Resources,
Resolutions, House Resolution 705, urging the Subcommittee on Sustainable Development Goals to adopt a continuous process in the evaluation, approval, and endorsement of PCB SDG funds for pre-approved programs, activities, and projects submitted within the fiscal year, by Representatives Alba, Veloso Tuazon, Galang, and Montes.
to the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals,
House Resolution 706, urging the DepDev, DPWH, and DENR to integrate nature-based solutions in the conceptualization and planning of the infrastructure program, by Representatives Alba, Veloso Tuazon, Galang, and Montes.
to the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals,
House Resolution 707, urging the DILG to mandate all LGUs to integrate nature-based solutions in the conceptualization and planning of infrastructure program, especially with regard to flood control, as part of the country's commitment to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, by Representatives Alba, Veloso Tuazon, Galang, and Montes.
to the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals,
House Resolution 708, directing the appropriate committees of the House of Representatives to conduct an urgent investigation into the recent maritime tragedies in the waters of Basilan, Davao, and Scarborough Shoal, by Representative Nazal.
to the Committee on Rules,
House Resolution 709, congratulating and commending Ayon Nicolay Chua for graduating magna cum laude with highest honors from Harvard University and for bringing honor and pride to the Filipino people, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Resolution 710, expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the House on the demise of former Representative Emilio de la Rosa Espinosa Jr. of Masbate, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 711, expressing the deep sympathy and condolences of the House on the passing of James B. Jimenez, former spokesperson and Director 4 of the COMELEC, and honoring his exemplary service to democracy and public service, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 712, urging the Committee on Youth and Sports Development to conduct an investigation to the alleged mismanagement, administrative bullying, abuse of power, and conflicts of interest within the Philippine Fencing Association relative to the selection and treatment of national athletes during the 33rd Southeast Asian Games and other related incidents, by Representative Gomez.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message from the Senate, message dated January 28, 2026, informing the House of Representatives that on January 26, 2026, the Senate designated Senator Legarda as chairperson, Senators Zubiri, Pangilinan, Cayetano, Alon Peter, and Padilla as members to the Philippine Congress Bangsamoro Parliamentary Forum.
To the Committee on Rules.
Communication, report dated January 29, 2026 of the Honorable Secretary General, House of Representatives, on enrolled copies of Senate Bill 1483 and House Bill 6429 on extending the term of the Second Congressional Commission on Education, EDCOM 2 Act, which were returned to the Senate on even date and to be transmitted to the Office of the President for His Excellency's consideration and signature pursuant to Section 18H, Rule 6 of the Provisional Rules of the House. Committee reports, Committee Report numbers 84 and 85, submitted by the Committee on Tourism on House Resolution numbers 394 and 420. Committee Report numbers 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, and 97, submitted by the Committee on Local Government on House Resolution 720, House Bill numbers 7550, 142, 7554, 761, 762, 7555, 1510, 1538, 1539, 2902, 1903, respectively. Committee Report number 98, submitted by the Committees on Energy and Information and Communications Technology on House Bill 7565. Committee Report numbers 99, 100, and 101, submitted by the Committee on Basic Education and Culture on House Resolution numbers 721, 722, and 723, respectively.
The aforementioned committee reports are all referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, may we acknowledge the guests of the Honorable Dimsar M. Sali of the Lone District of Tawi-Tawi. They are volleyball players and coaches from Tawi-Tawi who are members of the national team that competed in the SEA Games in Thailand last December 2025. Here with us today are Mikaelo Budin, Al-Bukhari Sali, Al-Nakran Abdillah, and Al-Frazin Abdul Wahab.
To the guest, Honorable Dimsar Saleh, from the volleyball players and coaches from the Tawi-Tawi, who are a member of the national team. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, may we also recognize the guests of Honorable Steve Chongbian Solon from the Lone District of Sarangani. They are visitors from Sarangani Province, and they are our Municipal Local Youth Development Officers. And they are the following: Ms. Sheila S. Manokay, Mr. Jovencio L. Sentilas Jr., Mr. Patrick P. Dancel, and Ms. Hapsa U. Andona, Mr. Speaker.
To the guest, Honorable Steve Chongbian Solon of the Lone District of Sarangani, the Municipal Local Youth Development Officers from the Sarangani Province. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with the leave of the House, I move that we open the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The privilege hour is now open. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Jonathan Kit Flores of the 2nd District of Bukidnon to avail of the privilege hour.
The Honorable Jonathan Kit Flores of the 2nd District of Bukidnon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I rise today on a matter of personal and collective privilege to call the attention of this august chamber to the alarming and tragic series of road accidents linked to the conduct of the 2026 Boss Ironman Motorcycle Challenge, particularly in its most recent leg held in Mindanao. The Boss Ironman Motorcycle Challenge was promoted as a 1,200-kilometer endurance event to be completed within 24 hours. More than 1,000 big bike riders participated in the January 31 to February 1, 2026 event, which covered at least 1,200 kilometers across key areas in Mindanao, including Cotabato City, Lanao del Norte, Zamboanga del Norte, Misamis Occidental, Cagayan de Oro City, Bukidnon, and Davao. However, what was promoted as a test of endurance has, in reality, turned public roads into corridors of danger where speed took precedence over safety. And unsuspecting motorists, pedestrians, and ordinary citizens paid the cost. Notably, numerous reports from affected communities and local authorities describe reckless and dangerous practices by some participants, including speeding through towns and densely populated areas, blinding incoming motorists with high beams and auxiliary lights, rampant counterflowing on public roads, and blatant disregard of traffic signals and basic road safety rules. Honorable Speaker, these actions did not merely inconvenience the public. These actions resulted in real injuries, real trauma, and real loss of life. The consequences of the recent Boss Ironman Motorcycle Challenge have been devastating for communities along its route. Among the reported incidents, the injury of a senior citizen farmer from Dagumbaan, Talakag, Bukidnon, a collision involving a tricycle in Digos City, Davao del Sur, a motorcycle lost control and veered into a residential area in Kauswagan, Bacolod, Lanao del Norte, an injured participant in Kapatagan, Lanao del Sur, a motorcycle that overshot a curve in Barangay Lower Landing, Dumingag, Zamboanga del Sur, a collision involving a bus inside a tunnel in Puicong, Lanao del Sur, and the reported death of a 46-year-old rider in Kibawi, Bukidnon, following a collision with a tricycle. Initial reports indicate the rider sustained severe traumatic injuries, including a massive neck hematoma. The tricycle driver and passengers reportedly did not suffer serious injuries except a 12-year-old girl who dislocated her foot. If this is not tragic enough, the Land Transportation Office further reported that one of the collisions claimed the life of a 7-year-old child, an innocent victim whose life was cut short on public roads meant to be safe. These incidents are in addition to many other unreported accidents, near misses, and serious public disturbances along the race route. What makes these accidents particularly alarming is that they did not occur in isolated or controlled environments. They happened on public roads. Our roads are meant to serve farmers bringing goods to the market, workers going to their jobs, children to school, and families simply going about their daily lives. These are not racetracks. These are lifelines of our communities. It also bears recalling, Honorable Speaker, that during the 2024 hearing of the House Committee on Transportation, the President of the BMW Owners Society of Safety Riders, BOSS, Mr. Joseph Tan, publicly issued an apology and stated that the board was strongly contemplating the suspension of the endurance challenge. This followed data from the PNP Highway Patrol Group, which showed that 25 road crashes incidents were recorded during the Luzon and Mindanao legs in 2024. As a result, 20 participants and 19 non-participants were injured, while 3 non-participants lost their lives. Given these facts, we must now ask, what became of these assurances? How was this event allowed to proceed under the same high-risk format despite a clear and troubling history? As a big bike rider myself, I understand the passion, discipline, and sense of brotherhood that events like the Boss Ironman Motorcycle Challenge inspire. But passion must never come at the expense of public safety. The right to recreation can never outweigh the right of innocent citizens to be safe on their own roads. No event, no matter how prestigious, should place ordinary citizens in harm's way. We must demand accountability and transparency from the organizers of this event and pursue decisive reform. It is a call to re-examine whether events such as the Boss Ironman Challenge should be allowed to proceed in their current format, particularly in open public roads, and under what conditions they may be conducted without endangering the public. Above all, we owe it to the victims and their families to ensure that their suffering was not in vain. We must act decisively, responsibly, and without delay so that no life is ever again lost to the preventable recklessness on our own roads. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Flores. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Ramon Gutierrez of One Rider Party List for his interpellation.
The Honorable Gutierrez is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, maraming salamat po. Would the gentleman from Bukidnon be open, would yield to some interpellation po?
I would gladly answer the questions of my distinguished colleague, Raj.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, dear colleague. Naintindihan ko po kung saan po kayo nanggagaling as a fellow rider. Kayo po, of all people, would understand how dismaying yung nangyari po ngayon. I understand also that this would be a concern for our distinguished gentleman from Bukidnon because some of the accidents mentioned actually happened in his legislative district. And in fact, this representation just filed today, House Resolution number 726, regarding the same matter. Mr. Chair, I just wanted to ask po, no, we've heard the our good colleague, yung sinabi po niya tungkol sa, the effects of these kinds of races. I just wanted to know, Mr. Chair, is the distinguished gentleman seeking an inquiry, or I did not quite hear at the latter part of his speech, what is it that he would like to come out of this po?
Well, I did not ask for an inquiry, Mr. Speaker. It would be best, Mr. Speaker, if the House or the proper committee conducts an inquiry on this incident.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to clarify po, no, because I was not sure what, although he was speaking his mind, I would, if he was not seeking an inquiry, I would like to respectfully suggest that an inquiry be held. Although this is the same subject matter of the resolution that we earlier filed, hindi lang po na-refer pa today. But I do believe that this is something that we have to reconsider because as mentioned by the distinguished gentleman from Bukidnon, naging subject na po ito ng isang inquiry last Congress. Noong 2024, when there were when there were fatalities during the last event that they held, there were assurances made to us, and I believe the good gentleman from Bukidnon was also there during that committee hearing, although it was held in Luzon. There were assurances made by the same organization that they would take measures to make sure that no casualties or no incidents would likely occur. In fact, if I remember right, they were considering very deeply, one, either to no longer proceed with this kind of event, or second, to totally transform it. I remember on the sidebar, they were considering endurance races in closed circuits where endurance races belong. For us to have this open road racing, although understandably, there has been a hybrid of events that would be, being conducted to promote for whatever purposes. I think it is high time to consider the feasibility of our having these open road events. Kasi po, yung pinag-usapan natin nung last hearing, yung inquiry po natin in the 19th Congress, they already made promises of, having further measures to be implemented. I'm sorry to the distinguished sponsor. I know he's not the right person to be having this discussion with. I don't think he is a member of that group either. Pero just to, really to drive home the point, there were promises made. And I believe our colleague was present there. There were promises made that they would do all of these measures. And very well, in fact, maybe they did do these measures. But the fact that there is at least even one death, and I think there are allegedly 2 more that we still have to verify, casualties po ito. Nasa wing, we're talking about human lives here that, they passed away because of these events. I think it really calls a more scrutinous inquiry, and we will not be satisfied anymore by mere promises of better conduct. I really do think, like as I was saying now, if the good sponsor is not seeking for inquiry in aid of legislation, I for one would like to include that in my manifestation now that it be considered when it is referred to the Rules Committee. With that, thank you very much, my distinguished colleague. rather than interpellation for this manifestation po, no? And I joined the good colleague in his privilege speech. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Gutierrez. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Flores and its interpellation to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Flores, including its interpellation and manifestation, is referred to the Committee on Rules for appropriate action. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Nelson S. Legacion of the 3rd District of Camarines Sur to avail of the privilege hour.
The Honorable Nelson Legacion of the 3rd District of Camarines Sur is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, guests, good afternoon. My privilege speech is about the high cost of domestic air travel, goods and services, and its impact on Philippine tourism. And precisely, I rise today to call attention to a problem that continues to quietly but persistently undermine one of our country's most important economic pillars. This high cost of traveling and tourist stays within our own country. Hindi po ito bagong issue, but the data now makes it impossible to ignore. In 2025, the Philippines recorded 6.48 million international visitor arrivals, a modest 0.76% increase from 2024. Still, it falls short of the 8.4 million target previously set by the Department of Tourism. This signals recovery, yes, but let us be honest. We are still far below our 2019 pre-pandemic peak of 8.26 million arrivals. We are recovering, but we are not yet competitive compared to our Southeast Asian neighbors, such as Vietnam, with 21.5 million visitors, Thailand with 32.97 million, and Malaysia's 42.2 million. South Korea remained our top source market of visitors, followed by the United States, Japan, Australia, and Canada, generating an estimated 694 billion in tourism revenue. Yet, despite these gains, arrivals from South Korea declined by nearly 18.5% last year. China's recovery remains sluggish. These are warning signs we cannot afford to dismiss. It also shows that we cannot just rely on international visitors to boost our tourism and economy, and we must look into domestic travels to boost these numbers. To clarify, Mr. Speaker, tourism is not collapsing. In fact, it remains a vital economic driver. In 2024, the Philippines recorded 134 million domestic tourism trips, and this must be counted as tourism arrivals because domestic travelers are the backbone of our tourism economy. Ngunit ang ating mga domestic tourists din mismo ang pinakadirektang tinatamaan ng mataas na presyo ng domestic travel dito sa bansa. Just to give an example, Mr. Speaker, when my staff and I inspected prices of round-trip tickets from Manila to Pili Camarines Sur, where Danaga Airport is, and flights to other nearby international destinations, such as Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia, the results are concerning. Mas mura pang lumipad papunta sa Hong Kong, Singapore, at Malaysia kesa umuwi sa sarili naming probinsya sa Camarines Sur. In particular, comparing the basic round-trip tickets for an off-season flight, this was from February 3 to 7 this year. The Manila to Naga costs 16,660 pesos and 52 centavos. Meanwhile, a round-trip flight from Manila to Hong Kong costs 14,485 pesos, while a Manila-Singapore flight costs 16,517. A Manila-Taipei flight costs 15,258, and a Manila-Bangkok flight is 14,120. The Manila-Kuala Lumpur flight costs 16,371. In comparison, some domestic flights to tourist destinations have it worse. A Manila-Siargao flight with connecting flight from Cebu costs 19,703 pesos. Manila-Coron via Busuanga costs 23,756 pesos. And Manila to Tawi-Tawi can cost up to 20,431 pesos. A flight from Clark to Batanes via PAL can cost up to 23,233 pesos. On the other hand, our fellow ASEAN members like Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam can charge lower cost when it comes to domestic flights to several tourist destinations or the nearest airports therein. For example, a round-trip flight from Kuala Lumpur to Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia via Air Asia cost only the equivalent of 6,794. Kuala Lumpur to Langkawi cost around 5,364, and Kuala Lumpur to Cochin cost 5,980. A round trip from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City via Viet Travel Airline cost 8,037 pesos. We must take note. The earlier mentioned 134 million domestic trips happened despite expensive airfares, rising fees, and limited inter-island connectivity. There is a desire for our fellow Filipinos to explore, discover, and enjoy our own country's sights, culture, and people. Thus, one must ask, how much higher could domestic tourism have been if traveling within our own country were more affordable. Ilan pa sana ang bumisita sa Bicol, sa Palawan, sa Visayas, at sa Mindanao kung hindi hadlang ang presyo ng pamasahe. When travel within the Philippines becomes expensive, Filipino families either travel less, shorten their trips, or skip destinations altogether. For instance, a week's stay in popular tourist spots like Siargao can cost up to 10,000 pesos per head. And this is on the cheaper side, without one going into the higher-end restaurants, hotels, and the like that are propping up therein. Some issues also arise in other places like Boracay. Tourists complain as well about hidden charges like environmental fees, port fees, hotel fees, the value-added tax, to name a few. Prices of food, drinks, clothing, and basic necessities are sometimes double, if not triple, the prevailing market prices because of expensive utilities and transportation costs, among other causes. Kung nahihirapan na ang sariling mamamayan nating maglakbay sa bansa nila, paano pa natin aasahan na lalakas ang turismo? Today, Filipino families and tourists face a painful paradox. A flight and hotel package to nearby ASEAN destinations can sometimes be cheaper than a domestic flight within the Philippines. This is no longer anecdotal. Industry data and traveler behavior already show that high domestic airfares are quietly pushing Filipinos to travel abroad instead of exploring our own islands. Hindi po lalago ng maayos ang turismo natin kung ang mismong pagpunta sa destinasyon ay nagiging luho, lalo na para sa mga nakatira dito sa ating bansa. While the Department of Tourism's 2026 promotions budget has increased to 1.3 billion pesos, a 1,200% increase, more than 10 times higher than before. A bigger budget does not automatically translate to an increased influx of tourists, be it domestic or international. Moreover, the Department of Transportation's announcement last Saturday that the government is already enacting measures to lower prices of plane tickets for local destination is still too vague and a move for us to see an end to this problem that have lasted for several years now. Let us be clear. Both agencies acting on their own are not enough to fix this problem. Kung mahal ang ticket, kahit gaano kaganda ang campaign, hindi lilipad ang turista. Kahit pinamura ang ticket pero mahal pa ang presyo ng hotel, mga bilihin, pati na rin ang pamasahe sa paglilibot sa mga destinasyon, hindi rin pupuntahan ng mga turista ito. Accordingly, the government must also consider the following. First, airline fares are not driven by airline decisions alone, but also by airport passengers' service charges, fuel, surcharges, regulatory fees, congestion, and limited inter-island connectivity, to name a few. Bawat dagdag na singil, bawat delay, bawat kakulangan sa rota Lahat po yan ay binabayaran ng turista. Second, travelers do not budget for base fares, hotels, or individual prices of goods to be consumed during the trip alone. They budget for total travel cost. Kapag ang total cost ay hindi na makatuwiran, bumababa ang demand, umiiksi ang length of stay at naapektuhan ang mga lokal na ekonomiya mula Bicol hanggang sa iba't ibang rehiyon ng bansa. I therefore, Mr. Speaker, respectfully propose the following. First, to establish a domestic travel affordability task force composed of the Department of Tourism, DOTR, CAAP, CAB, and airport operators with one clear mandate to reduce total domestic travel costs on priority tourism routes. Second, publish a tourism route cost map showing average all-in airfare prices, fees, and surcharges so policymakers and the public can track affordability, just as we track inflation. Third, review airport fee structures through a tourism lens, ensuring that necessary infrastructure upgrades do not unintentionally suppress demand. And fourth, align aviation and tourism policy with seasonality, so peak travel periods do not punish Filipino families with prohibitive fares. Mr. Speaker, lowering tourism targets may reflect realism, but it must never signal resignation. Kung magpapatuloy ang mataas na presyo ng airline tickets at ang presyo ng pagbabakasyon, hindi lang babagal ang turismo, unti-unti itong dudugo hanggang sa umunti kung hindi man mawala ito. DOT must stop treating transport cost as external to tourism policy. DOTR must stop treating tourism as someone else's concern. Other agencies must also step in to assist in solving this problem, as this is a multifaceted problem. Tourism is not just about destinations, it is about access. At sa isang bansang archipelago tulad ng Pilipinas, ang access ay nagsisimula sa presyo ng ticket. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Legacion. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Legacion to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Legacion is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Sara Elago of Gabriela Party List to avail of the privilege hour.
The Honorable Sara Ilago of the Gabriela Party List is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon on a matter of urgent national and international importance. 1 month has passed since the United States launched an unprovoked military attack against the sovereign nation of Venezuela, an act of brazen aggression that we must condemn without reservation. I echo and amplify the powerful statement issued by the ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights, and I call upon the members of this chamber to stand firmly on the side of sovereignty, international law, and the rights of oppressed peoples everywhere. The reports are clear and chilling, Mr. Speaker. a unilateral military build-up in the Caribbean, aerial strikes on Venezuelan cities, and the illegal capture of President Nicolas Maduro. But we must focus with particular outrage on the illegal capture of Celia Flores, who is not merely the First Lady. She is also a sitting member of the Venezuelan National Assembly. This is not just an attack on a family. It is a direct assault on a nation's parliament, on the very institution of representation. That is, to kidnap a legislator is to spit on the principle of parliamentary immunity and the democratic will that each member embodies. It sets a horrific precedent that should alarm every lawmaker in this room, in every nation that values its own legislative independence from foreign dictates. The APHR correctly identifies and denounces this action as an unlawful act of aggression and state kidnapping, a violent external imposition of political outcomes. This violation of Venezuela's sovereignty is a dagger pointed at the heart of the United Nations Charter and all norms of peaceful coexistence. But beyond this geopolitical intervention, Mr. Speaker, we must also see the human cost, borne disproportionately by the most vulnerable. The aerial bombardments and military intervention have a gendered and generational face. Women, already bearing the brunt of economic warfare through years of illegal sanctions, now face intensified horror. They are the caregivers scrambling to protect children amid airstrikes, the community organizers holding society together under fire, and the primary victims of the displacement and trauma that follow. The kidnapping of Celia Flores, a woman leader, sends a misogynistic message of intimidation to all women in politics who dare to defy imperialist designs. The statement from the APHR, Mr. Speaker, also rightly connects this aggression to the plunder of Venezuela's vast oil reserves. This is the core of the matter, a fossil-fueled imperialism that places profit above people and the planet. While the world suffers a climate crisis exacerbated by such fuels, this US action seeks to control them through brute force. And this action exposes the hypocrisy of powerful nations that speak of sustainability and climate action, while waging wars for resources, threatening the energy sovereignty and development pathways of not just Venezuela, but of all global South nations, including those in Southeast Asia and our own, the Philippines. So, colleagues, the implications for our region are dire. If a powerful state can just illegally capture a president and a parliamentarian, bomb cities, and seize a country's resources with impunity, what security do any of us have? It weakens the very international rules that supposedly protect smaller nations like ours. It fuels a global culture of fear, militarism, and domination that directly undermines our own struggles for genuine independence and peace. Therefore, I also join the APHR as its member and all peace-loving peoples of the world in demanding, first and foremost, an immediate and unconditional end to all US interventionist actions in Venezuela. Second is the full respect for Venezuela's sovereignty and the right of its people to decide their own path without foreign interference. As legislators, our privilege is not just to speak, but to act in defense of justice. So let us stand in firm solidarity with the people of Venezuela. Let us condemn this US action in Venezuela and be vigilant on its broader impact on sovereignty. The future of multilateralism peace, and our own sovereignty depends on the stance we take today. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ilago. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Elago to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Ilago is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend session for a few minutes.
Session is suspended. Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Antonio L. Tino of ACT Teachers Party List to avail of the privileged hour.
The Honorable Antonio Tino of the ACT Teachers Party List is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I rise to mark two significant dates that expose the unbroken, more than a century-long continuity of U.S. imperialism. The one-month anniversary today of the illegal U.S. invasion of Venezuela, and on February 4th, the 127th anniversary of the start of the Philippine-American War. First of all, as Filipinos, we take this moment to remember and pay tribute to the hundreds of thousands of Filipinos, our ancestors, who gave their lives in defense of Inang Bayan against the new invader, the U.S. imperialists that sought to smash the newly independent Philippine Republic and subjugate our people through a brutal war of conquest. From the Battle of Manila on February 4, 1899, to the plains of Luzon, to the islands of the Visayas and Mindanao, our ancestors mounted a heroic defense. The Balangiga massacre, the burning of Samar that followed, the slaughter at Buddaho and Budbagsak, more than a decade after the outbreak of the war. These are not mere footnotes of history, but stark testaments to the imperialist violence that was unleashed to crush our sovereignty. In the same breath, we extend unwavering solidarity to the Venezuelan people. 1 month ago today, on January 3, 2026, the United States invaded Venezuela, kidnapped its president, Nicolas Maduro, and the First Lady, Cilia Flores, and killed 103 people. The First Lady, Cilia Flores, is not merely Maduro's wife, as Western media popularly refers to her, but she is a sitting parliamentarian with parliamentary immunity, the former president of the National Assembly of Venezuela, and a veteran politician in her own right. Therefore, her kidnapping, along with the president of Venezuela, adds to the list of crimes against international law that were perpetrated by the United States. Before invading Venezuela, the U.S. killed 115 people, mostly civilian fishers, in the operation called Southern Spear, consisting of airstrikes on boats from September to December 2025. Human Rights Watch called these extrajudicial killings without arrests, with no trials, summary executions by airstrike, justified by so-called counter-narcotics. The U.S. aggression and the kidnapping of Maduro and Flores, justified by fabricated narco-terrorism claims, represents a brazen violation of the UN Charter, international law, and Venezuela's sovereignty. Nevertheless, the Venezuelan people resist. Interim President Delcy Rodriguez continues to lead the government and enjoys the widespread support of the Venezuelan people. Meanwhile, the US-backed opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, debased herself by giving President Trump her Nobel Peace Prize, thanking him for invading her own country. This reveals who truly represents Venezuelan sovereignty versus those who serve Washington. We support the call of the Venezuelan government and people for the immediate return of President Maduro and Member of Parliament Cilia Flores to Venezuela, an end to the economic sanctions and blockade that cause untold hardship to the Venezuelan people, respect for national sovereignty as enshrined in international law, and an end to the unilateral warmongering and aggression of the United States against Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, Palestine, Latin America, and the rest of the world. The pattern is clear. From 1899, marking the onset of the US as an imperial power on the world stage, to 2026, as the US desperately seeks to maintain its superpower status in the face of an emerging multipolar world order, the US has used deception, brute force, and blatant violation of sovereignty to impose its global hegemony. The US invaded and conquered the Philippines to control its resources and exploit its strategic position as the gateway to the Pacific from Asia. President Trump has brazenly declared that the US invaded Venezuela to seize control of its oil reserves, to hand it over to US corporations, and to enforce a new Monroe Doctrine, where the US arrogates unto itself the right to use military force anywhere in Latin America to protect US national interests. Consequently, Trump's presidency, his pronouncements and actions have thoroughly unmasked and exposed any US claim to leadership on the world stage. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney recently admitted at Davos the story of the international rules-based order, he says, was partially false, mired in hypocrisy where the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient and international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused. In short, even the once closest allies of the United States cannot but admit that the so-called rules-based international order espoused by the United States and its allies, including the Philippines, the government of the Philippines, is nothing more than a US rules-based hegemony. Rules-based order means rules Washington makes for others while exempting itself. This is precisely why the US avoids using the term international law, preferring rules, because it considers itself to be above international law. As such, we can now declare that in the Philippine context, all those in government, in academia, social media, or in public discourse in general, all those Filipinos who insist on parroting the term rules-based international order, all of you are now exposed as shills and apologists of US imperialism. The same goes for the use of terms such as Indo-Pacific and First Island Chain. These are now exposed not as neutral terms, but as linguistic constructs meant to promote US hegemonic interests and justify US intervention in our part of the world. We condemn the Marcos administration for its refusal to take a strong stand against U.S. illegal actions in Venezuela. Worse still, the ever-deepening alliance of the Marcos Jr. administration with the United States actively undermines our own national interest, specifically our sovereign rights to the West Philippine Sea. Our sovereign rights rests on UNCLOS, as we know, in the 2016 arbitral ruling that declared China's 10-dash line has no legal basis. Yet, the United States, our principal ally, is the #1 violator of international law, truly the most rogue of rogue states. We rightly invoke international law against China, but embrace the country that rejects international law and holds itself above international law and inflicts death and destruction on sovereign nations and people at its will and with impunity. That's why, in the eyes of our neighbors in Southeast Asia, that's Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam, among others, as well as in the international community, this hypocrisy cannot but destroy our credibility, or the credibility of the Philippine government, when it takes a stand on our sovereign rights to the West Philippine Sea based on international law. The U.S. alliance doesn't defend our West Philippine Sea claims, it fatally undermines them. Compare our path to some of our neighbors. For example, Vietnam. Vietnam faces U.S. tariff threats and has actually been imposed with at least 46% tariffs. Vietnam also faces ongoing conflict with China in the South China Sea, similar to ours. But what is Vietnam's response? They have a so-called four no's national foreign policy. Four no's: no military alliances, no foreign bases, no foreign military use of their territory, and no use of force in their international relations. Vietnam simultaneously negotiates with Washington while approving an 8.3 billion Chinese rail link. Vietnam doubles its strategic partnership in 1 year. This is a concrete example of an independent foreign policy in action. Now is the time, therefore, to distance ourselves from the roguest of rogue states in the world today. Now is the time for a genuinely independent national policy for the Philippines. It requires standing with Venezuela, Cuba, Palestine, and all peoples resisting U.S. hegemonic aggression. Concretely, this means, and this can only be possible by removing all U.S. bases and troops from Philippine territory as the #1 requisite for a genuinely independent stand on the world stage. Only then can the Philippines conduct a truly multilateral engagement, prioritizing national interests, and only then can the Philippines take the lead in advocating an ASEAN-centered regional security framework. 127 years after the U.S. colonized us, it is time for a truly independent Philippines to take the stage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Honorable Tenyo. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Tino to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Antonio Tino is referred to the Committee on Rules for appropriate action. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to avail of the privilege hour, I move that we terminate the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the privilege hour is terminated. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, under the business for today, I move to consider House Bill 6904, contained in Committee Report 59, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises, and may I request the Secretary General to read the title of the measure.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Bill 6904.
House Bill 6904, an act granting the Exodus Broadcasting Company, Inc. a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain radio and television stations in the Philippines.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the period of sponsorship and debate is now open. Majority Leader.
I move that we recognize Representative Jeffrey P. Ferrer from the 4th District of Negros Occidental to sponsor the measure.
The gentleman from the 4th District of Negros Occidental, Honorable Jeffrey Ferrer, is now recognized. Sponsor the measure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, and distinguished members of this august chamber, House Bill number 6904, as contained in Committee Report number 59, seeks to grant Exodus Broadcasting Company Incorporation a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain radio and TV broadcasting station in the Philippines for 25 years. I would like to inform the honorable members of this chamber that this measure has undergone committee deliberation. Exodus Broadcasting Company has duly complied with all the documentary requirements of the committee, and the measure was approved on December 3, 2025. All members present during the committee's meeting expressed their full support for approval of the measure and manifested their intention to be made co-authors thereof. In view of the foregoing, I respectfully and earnestly appeal for the approval of this measure. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to interpolate Representative Ferrer, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The period of sponsorship and debate is now closed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the period of amendments is now open. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to give their amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the period of amendments is now closed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of voting on the measure for second reading. I move that we vote on second reading. House Bill number 6904.
There's a motion to approve on second reading, House Bill number 6904. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill number 6904 is now approved on second reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, under the calendar of business for Thursday and Friday, I move to consider House Bill 6914, contained in Committee Report 60, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
Is there any objection?
And may I request the Secretary
General. The Secretary General is directed
to read the
to
measure.
read House Bill number 6914.
House Bill number 6914, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Central Mindanao University under Republic Act number 9044, entitled An Act Granting the Central Mindanao University a Franchise to Construct, Install, Establish, operate and maintain for educational and non-commercial purposes radio and television broadcasting stations in Central Mindanao University, Municipality of Maramag, Province of Bukidnon.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The period of sponsorship and debate is now open. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Jeffrey P. Ferrer and the Honorable
The
Audrey
gentleman
Casey.
from the 4th District of Negros Occidental, Honorable Jeffrey Ferrer, is now recognized.
Again, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. House Bill number 6914, as contained in Committee Report number 66, to renew the franchise granted to Central Mindanao University to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain for educational and non-commercial purposes radio and television broadcasting station in Central Mindanao University, Municipality of Maramag, Province of Bukidnon, for another 25 years. I would like to inform the honorable members of this chamber that this measure has undergone committee deliberation and the measure was approved December 3, 2025. All members present during the committee meeting expressed their full support for the approval of the measure and manifested their intention to be co-authors thereof. In view of the foregoing, I respectfully and earnestly appeal for the approval of this measure. And this juncture, I respectfully give the floor to the original author of the bill, Representative Audrey Subiri, to deliver her sponsorship speech and respond to any questions or interpellation that may be raised.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Audrey K. Subiri to sponsor the measure.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Honorable
Speaker.
Audrey K. Zubiri of the 3rd District of Bukidnon, now recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I would also like to thank our distinguished chairman, Congressman Jeffrey Ferrer, for his sponsorship. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, and my fellow Filipinos, good afternoon. I rise today to sponsor House Bill number 6914, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Central Mindanao University under Republic Act number 9044. This measure is not merely about renewing a franchise. Rather, it is about ensuring that reliable information, quality education, and essential public service continue to reach our communities, most especially in Mindanao. Despite significant strides in digital advancement, Mindanao continues to face persistent challenges in communication infrastructure. These gaps have left many communities with limited access to broadcast services, weak signal coverage, and inadequate internet connectivity. While a 2020 study shows that around 80% of Mindanao's population is covered by a mobile network, a 2019 survey reveals that only 17.7% of households have internet access at home. Under these circumstances, radio and free-to-air broadcasting remain indispensable. For many communities in Mindanao, these are not a luxury. They are a lifeline. Central Mindanao University was granted a congressional franchise under Republic Act number 9044 in March 2001 to operate radio and television broadcasting stations for educational and non-commercial purposes. Since then, CMU has been duly authorized by the National Telecommunications Commission to operate 5-kilowatt AM and FM radio stations. Through these stations, Bukidnon and our neighboring provinces have consistently received timely news, essential public information, and high-quality education and cultural programming. Over the years, CMU has proven to be a trusted partner of both government and local communities with its radio operations, serving as a vital platform for public service announcements, instructional programs, disaster preparedness initiatives, and capacity building activities. Notably, during the COVID-19 pandemic, CMU's broadcast facilities became an essential tool for distance learning, ensuring the continuity of education at a time when face-to-face instruction was impossible and internet access remained beyond the reach of many students. The station offers a wide range of programs, including university updates, agricultural education, news and public affairs that serve both the university and surrounding communities. These include Mag-uuma Bida Ka, School on the Air, Katikaran sa Kolehiyo, CMU in Focus, and News and Public Affairs. Notably, the School on the Air program is led by experts from CMU's College of Agriculture in partnership with the Department of Agriculture. Through this initiative, farmers and rural communities gain access to practical, science-based agricultural knowledge to improve productivity, strengthen food security, and uplift livelihoods in the countryside. In the same way, on-air academic programs and lectures allowed students to continue their studies remotely, demonstrating how broadcast media can effectively complement formal distance learning systems. This measure affirms our commitment to bridging the digital divide, expanding access to education, and promoting inclusive development that leaves no Filipino behind. It not only benefits farmers and rural communities, but also supports students of the university who are able to participate in virtual on-air classes without the need for internet connectivity, an approach that proved especially vital during the pandemic and remains relevant in times of crisis and disaster. Mr. Speaker, knowledge empowers citizens, strengthens communities, and fuels inclusive growth. Renewing the franchise of Central Mindanao University ensures that this knowledge continues to reach even the most remote and underserved areas of our country, regardless of circumstances. In view of this, I respectfully and earnestly seek the support of my distinguished colleagues for the immediate passage of House Bill number 6914. Mr. Speaker, I am now ready to take any questions on House Bill number 6914 from my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no members who wish to interpolate, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the period of sponsorship and debate is now closed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair here stand, the period of amendments now open. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee amendments nor individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? The chair here stand, the period of amendments now closed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading House Bill 6914.
There's a motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 6914. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill number 6914 is now approved on second reading. Congratulations.
Mr. Speaker, if I may be recognized.
Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Central Mindanao University, its professors, students, and the entire Bukidnon, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude and thanks to the House leadership, and of course to our distinguished chairman, Mr. Chairman Jeff Ferrer, and to my dear colleagues in Congress for your support to this measure and support to CMU. Daghang salamat kaninyong tanan.
Daghang salamat. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed, may we recognize the guests of the Honorable Christopherson Coco M. Yap from the 2nd District of Southern Leyte. They are care consultants, and they are the following: Ms. Emily Grace Angkoy, Ms. Denise Magreloj, Ms. Jinjin May Gato, Ms. Mary Joy Langub, Ms. Tricia Marie Cinco, and Ms. Glyza Avendula, Mr. Speaker.
To the guest, Honorable Christopherson Coco Yap of the 2nd District of Southern Leyte, the CARE consultants. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
May we also recognize the guests of the Honorable De Carlo Oyo L. Uy, Assistant Majority Leader, representative from the 1st District of Davao del Norte. They are visitors from Davao del Norte, and they are the following: Ms. Rhea Joy M. Ginang, Mr. Robbie M. Melendres, Mr. Edgar N. Camara, Mr. Ludwin G. De Facto, Ms. Joanna Paula Factolarin, Mr. Ryan Maxi P. Gatok, Mr. Ariel B. Ligonan, Mr. Dexter A. Pale, Mr. Robert Ray M. Ramos, Mr. Walter C. Rudas. Mr. Speaker.
To the guest, Honorable De Carlo Oyo Oy of the 1st District of Davao del Norte, visitors from the Davao del Norte, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with our rules governing inquiries in aid of legislation, I move to refer the following House resolutions to the appropriate committees. House Resolution 602 to the Committee on Overseas Workers' Affairs. House Resolution 603 to the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability. House Resolution 604 to the Committee on Public Accounts. House Resolution 636 to the Committee on Ways and Means. House Resolution 638 to the Committee on Public Accounts. House Resolution 640 to the Committee on Health. House Resolution 641 to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality. House Resolution 642 to the Committee on Legislative Franchises. House Resolution 643 to the Committee on Energy. House Resolution 645 to the Committee on Agriculture and Food. House Resolution 651 to the Committee on Labor and Employment. House Resolution 655 to the Committee on Indigenous Cultural Communities and Indigenous Peoples. House Resolution 666 to the Committee on Senior Citizens. House Resolution 674 to the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The formation House resolution is referred to the said committees. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to our rules governing inquiries in aid of legislation, I move to refer the following speeches to the appropriate committees. The speech of Representative Ko to the Committee on Energy. The speech of Representative Romulo to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture and Higher and Technical Education. The speech of Representative Asidre to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture and Higher and Technical Education. The speech of Representative Mendoza to the Committee on Veterans Affairs and Welfare. The speech of Representative Abante to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture. The speech of Representative Villanueva to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture. The speech of Representative Ferrer to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. The speech of Representative Daza to the Committee on Appropriations. The speech of Representative San Fernando to the Committee on Labor and Employment. The speech of Representative Ko to the Committee on Natural Resources. The speech of Representative Ilago to the Committee on Natural Resources. The speech of Representative Tan to the Committee on Transportation. The speech of Representative Alano to the Committee on Transportation. The speech of Representative Tan to the Committee on Transportation. The speech of Representative Legaspi to the Special Committee on West Philippine Sea. The speech of Representative Gomez to the Committee on Youth and Sports Development, and the speech of Representative Tino to the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the change of referral of the following measures. House Bill numbers 1260 and 3741 from the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation to the Committees on Civil Service and Professional Regulation and Health. House Resolution number 310 from the Committee on Agriculture and Food to the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability. House Bill number 7432 from the Committee on Appropriations to the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to include additional co-authors to House Bill numbers 7301, 7303, 7304, 7368, and 7379 as contained in the list to be submitted by the Committee on Rules.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Move to suspend, Mr. Speaker.
Session is suspended. Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, may we again recognize the guests of the Honorable DiCarlo Oyo L. Uy from, these are government officials from Barangay Mankilam, Tagum City, and they are the following. Honorable Marlon O. Rio, Honorable Rogelio B. Bautista, Honorable Rosael L. Ferido, Honorable Arnel A. Garcia, Honorable Michael L. Compasivo, Honorable Christian C. Mahinay, Ms. Ellen E. Sortes, Ms. Ann Jess J. Del Rosario, Mr. Charlie D. Reyes Jr., Ms. Alona C. Butay, Ms. Erica Lalaine A. Amper, and Ms. Alma B. Torremocha. Mr. Speaker.
The guest, Honorable DiCarlo Oy of the First District of Davao del Norte, from the officials from the Barangay Mankilam, Tagum City. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to consider House Bill number 6676 and may request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Bill 6676, thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 6676, an act establishing a national policy framework for the development, utilization, and commercialization of energy storage systems. Roll call of members in consideration on third reading of House Bill number 6676. Abalos, Abante, Asidre, Acosta, Adyong, Advincula, Agarao, Aguiao, Alano, Alba, Albano, Almario Chino Miguel, Almario Dennis, Almonte, Alvarez Jose, Alvarez Mercedes, Amante, Amatong, Ang, Angara, Angeles, Aquino, Aquino Magsaysay, Arbison Munir Jr., Arenas, Arrogancia, Asistio, Ataide, Omentado, Ayon, Bagao, Balindong, Baños Nograles, Bangcoro, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascug, Bautista Claude, Bautista Johan Monich, Bautista Lim, Beltran, Benitez Alfredo, Benitez Javier Miguel, Bernos Ching, Bernos JB, Biron, Bukobo, Bolivia, Bondok, Briones, Bulitbegtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Kawagdan, Cary, Castro, Caiton, Celeste, Sendanya, Siniza, Chan Jan Franz Norbert Joselito Almario, Chan Junard, Chua, Chuatay, Chungalao, Copilar, Juanco Jaime Eduardo Mark, Juanco Mark, Coliantes, Corvera, Cruz Agatha, Cruz Ricardo, Cruzado, Kua, Dagook, Dalog, Dayanghirang, Daza, De Jesus, De Lima, De Venecia, Defensor, De Gamo, Del Mar, De Los Santos, Di Macuja, Di Maguila, Di Maporo Imelda, Di Maporo City Amina, Diokno, Junicio, Domingo, Domogan, Duterte Harold James, Duterte Omar Vincent, Duterte Paulo, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Elago, Emano, Enverga, Erice, Escudero, Espares, Espina, Estrella, Ferrer Antonio, Ferrer Jeffrey, Flores, Fortes, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Galang, Galeos, Garbin, Garcia Albert, Garcia Dante, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Karen Hope, Garcia Maria Angela, Guardiola, Garin, Gatchalian, Gato, Glepa, Gomez, Gonzalez Alexandria, Gonzalez Eliza Micaela, Gonzalez Christopher Sheen, Gonzalez Roy, Goriseta, Gico, Gintu, Gulias, Gutierrez, Hernandez Charis Ann, Hernandez Dennis, Hernandez Ferdinand, Hernandez Ramil, Hofer Hasim, Horibata, Ismula, Iway, Javier, Co Antonio, Co Elisa, Co Wilton, Konghun, Co, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagbas, Lagdameo Jose Manuel, Lagdameo Monique Yasmin Maria, Lagman, Lagon Daphne, Lagon Sunny, Lara, Lazatin, Ledesma, Legacion, Legarda, Legaspi, Leviste, Libanan, Lopez, Loria, Loyola, Luistro, Lumayag, Macapagal Arroyo, Makasait, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangudadatu, Maniquis, Marañon, Marcoleta, Marcos, Marquez, Mastura, Matibag, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Mercado Revilla, Miraflores, Momo, Montez, Nava, Nazal, Nisay, Nolasco, Waminal Henry, Waminal Sancho Fernando, Odocado, Olivares, Ongchuan, Ordanes, Oreta, Ortega, Juan Odizon, Padiernos, Panaligan, Pancho, Panotes, Pascual, Perez, Pimentel, Plaza, Plato, Po, Primicia Sagabas, Pumaren, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Recto, Rehencia, Remulia, Revilla Brian, Revilla Ramon Jolo, Ridon, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez Eulogio, Rodriguez Maximo, Rodriguez Rufus, Roman, Romualdez Andrew Julian, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Sally, Salvacion, Salvador, Salvame, San Fernando, Santos Maria Alano Samantha, Santos Mark Anthony, Shimura, Singson Richelle, Singson Ronald, Singson Mihan, Solon, Suwan, Swansing Bella Vanessa, Swansing Micaela Angela, Suarez, Suntay, Talyado, Tan Aman, Tan Joseph, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tanchay, Tanwatko, Tariela, Teodoro, Tereng, Teves, Tiangco, Tieng, Tino, Tolentino, Tuwan, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tupas, Tutor, T, Umali, Ungab, Uy De Carlo, Uy Roberto, Valeriano, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Veloso, Veloso Tuazon, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte Miguel Luis, Villafuerte Vincenzo Renato Luigi, Villanueva, Villarica, Violago, Yam Suwan, Yap Arthur, Yap Christopherson, Yap Edvic, Yap Eric, Yap John G. Snell, Yatko, Inares, Yu Jazel Victoria, Yu Joseph Kim, Yulo, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Isabel Maria, Zubiri. Second call of members in consideration on third reading of House Bill number 6676. Abalos, Abante, Adyong, Almario Dennis, Alvarez Mercedes, Ang, Angara, Arbison Munir, Arenas, Asistio, Aumentado, Bagao, Banyas Nograles, Barzaga, Bascug, Benitez Alfredo, Biron, Bocobo, Bolilla, Bondo, Calixto, Cari, Sendanya, Chua, Corvera, Cruz Ricardo, Daza, De Venecia, Defensor, Degamo, De Los Santos Alfred C., Di Macuja, Dionisio, Domingo, Duterte Harold James, Duterte Omar Vincent, Duterte Paulo, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Garcia Albert, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Karen Hope, Garcia Maria Angela, Garin, Gatchalian, Go, Gomez, Gonzalez Christopher Sheen, Gulias, Hernandez Dennis, Pofarasim, Horibata, Co, Lagdameo Monique Yasmin Maria, Lazatin, Ledesma, Ligarda, Leviste, Loria, Macapagal Arroyo, Makasait, Maceda, Malapitan, Mangodadatu, Marañon, Marcoleta, Marquez, Mastura, Mercado Revilla, Miraflores, Montes, Waminal Henry, Waminal Sancho Fernando, Odocado, Ongchuan, Oreta, Owano Dizon, Panotes, Perez, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Rehencia, Remulla, Revilla Brian, Revillo Ramon Jolo, Romualdez Andrew Julian, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Salceda, Salvacion, Salvador, Santos Mark Anthony, Singson Richelle, Swansea Micaela Angela, Suntay, Tan Eamon T, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tieng, Tolentino, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Yutor, T. Ungab, Vergara, Villaforte Vincenzo Renato Luigi, Villanueva, Violago, Yap Christopherson, Yap Edvic, Yap John G. Snell, Yatko, Inares, Yu Jazel Victoria, Zamora Maria Carmen.
Thank you. With 192 members voting in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, and 0 abstention, House Bill number 6676 is hereby approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
May we recognize the guests of the Honorable Munir and Arbison Jr., Deputy Majority Leader. They are the following: Fatima Riza Hajan, Albar Arbison Jr., Renmark Ledesma, Sherhama Arim, and Rahel Kaila Salem. Mr. Speaker.
To the guest, Honorable Munir Arbison Jr., Deputy Majority Leader, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
May we also recognize the guests of the Honorable Cielo Cristel B. Lagman from the 1st District of Albay, and they are the following: Edgar A. Ayohan, Marian B. Bataler, Janet B. Biron, Irene Z. Casquejo, Marla C. Competente, Gurley B. Hona, Michelle C. Mendoza, Jeremy James B. Miralo, Mernel B. Ogsila, Rodolfo O. Ogsila Jr., Edgar O. Borjal Jr. Mr. Speaker.
To the guest of Honorable Cielo Cristel Lagman of the 1st District of Albay, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 7239 and may request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Bill number 7239, and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill 7239, an act providing for mandatory insurance coverage and benefits for all line workers. Roll call of members in consideration on third reading of House Bill number 7239. Abalos, Abante, Asidre, Acosta, Adyong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agyao, Alano, Alba, Albano, Almario Chino Miguel, Almario Dennis, Almonte, Alvarez Jose, Alvarez Mercedes, Amante, Amatong, Ang, Angara, Angeles, Aquino, Aquino Magsaysay, Arbison Munir Jr., Arenas, Arrogancia, Asistio, Atayde, Aumentado, Ayon, Bagao, Balindong, Banyas, Nograles, Bangkoro, Barbar, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascug, Bautista Claude, Bautista Johan Monich, Bautista Lim, Beltran, Benitez Alfredo, Benitez Javier Miguel, Bernos Ching, Bernos JB, Miron, Bocobo, Bolilia, Bondok, Briones, Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Kawagdan, Cari, Castro, Caiton, Celeste, Sendanya, Siniza, Chan, Jan, Franz, Norberto Silito Almario, Chan, Junard, Chua, Chuatay, Chungalao, Copilar, Juanco Jaime Eduardo Mark, Juanco Mark, Coliantes, Corvera, Cruz Agatha, Cruz Ricardo, Cruzado, Cua, Dagok, Dalog, Dayanghirang, Daza, De Jesus de Lima, de Venecia, Defensor, de Gamo del Mar, de Los Santos, de Macuja, de Maguila, Dimaporo Imelda, Dimaporo City Amina, Diokno, Junicio, Domingo, Domogan, Duterte Harold James, Duterte Omar Vincent, Duterte Paulo, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Elago, Emano, Enverga, Erice, Escudero, Espares, Espina, Estrella, Ferrer Antonio, Ferrer Jeffrey, Flores, Fortes, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Galang, Galeos, Garbin, Garcia Albert, Garcia Dante, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Karen Hope, Garcia Maria Angela, Guardiola, Garin, Gatchalian, Gato, Glepa, Gomez, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Eliza Micaela, Gonzales Christopher Sheen, Gonzales Roy, Goriseta, Gico, Ginto, Gullias, Gutierrez, Hernandez Charis Ann, Hernandez Dennis, Hernandez Ferdinand, Hernandez Ramil, Hofer Rasim, Horibata, Ismula, Iway, Javier, Ko Antonio, Ko Elisa, Ko Wilton, Kong Hun, Ko, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagbas, Lagdameo Jose Manuel, Lagdameo Monique Yasmin Maria, Lagman, Lagon Daphne, Lagon Sunny, Lara, Lazatin, Ledesma, Legacion, Legarda, Legaspi, Leviste, Libanan, Lopez, Loria, Loyola, Luistro, Lumayag, Macapagal Arroyo, Makasait, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangudadato, Maniquis, Marañon, Marcoleta, Marcos, Marquez, Mastura, Matibag, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Mercado Revilla, Miraflores, Momo, Montes, Nava, Nazal, Nisay, Nolasco, Waminal Henry, Waminal Sancho Fernando, Oducado, Olivares, Ongchuan, Ordanes, Oreta, Ortega, Juano Dizon, Padiernos, Panaligan, Pancho, Panotes, Pascual, Perez, Pimentel, Plaza, Plato, Po, Primicia Sagabas, Pomaren, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Rector, Rehencia, Rimulya, Revilla Brian, Revilla Ramon Jolo, Ridon, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez Eulogio, Rodriguez Maximo, Rodriguez Rufus, Roman, Romualdez Andrew Julian, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sagarbaria, Sacaluran, Salceda, Sally, Salvacion, Salvador, Salvames, San Fernando, Santos Maria, Alana Samantha, Santos Mark Anthony, Shimura, Singson Richelle, Singson Ronald, Singsong Mihan, Solon, Suan, Swansing Bella Vanessa, Swansing Micaela Angela, Suarez, Suntay, Talyado, Tan Eamon, Tan Joseph, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tan Chay, Tan Watco, Tariela, Tudoro, Tereng, Teves, Tiangco, Tieng, Tino, Tolentino, Tuan, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tupas, Tutor, T. Umali, Ungab, Uy De Carlo, Uy Roberto, Valeriano, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Veloso, Veloso Tuazon, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte Miguel Luis, Villafuerte Vincenzo, Renato Luigi, Villanueva, Villarica, Violago, Yam Suwan, Yap Arthur, Yap Christopherson, Yap Edvic, Yap Eric, Yap John G. Snell, Yatko, Inares, Yu Jazel Victoria, Yu Joseph Kim, Yulo, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Isabel Maria Zubiri. Second call of members in consideration and third reading of House Bill number 7239. Abalos, Abante, Almario Dennis, Alvarez Mercedes, Ang, Angara, Arbison Munir, Arenas, Asistio, Aumentado, Bagao, Banyas Nograles, Barzaga, Bascog, Benitez Alfredo, Miron, Bocobo, Bolilia, Bondo, Calixto, Cari, Sendanya, Chua, Corvera, Cruz Ricardo, Daza, De Venecia, Defensor, Digamo, De Los Santos, Alfred C., Di Macuja, Dionisio Domingo, Duterte Harold James, Duterte Omar Vincent, Duterte Paulo, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Karen Hope, Garcia Maria Angela, Garbin, Gatchalian, Go, Gomez, Gonzalez Christopher Sheen, Gullias, Hernandez Dennis, Ofer Hasim, Horibata, Co, Lagdameo Monique Yasmin Maria, Lazatin, Ledesma, Legarda, Leviste, Loria, Macapagal Arroyo, Makasayat, Maceda, Malapitan, Marañon, Marcoleta, Marquez, Mastura, Mercado Revilla, Miraflores, Montes, Waminal Henry, Waminal Sancho Fernando, Oducado, Ongchuan, Oreta, Owan Dizon, Panotes, Perez, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Rehencia, Remulla, Revilla Brian, Revilla Ramon Jolo, Romaldos Andrew Julian, Romaldos Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Salceda, Salvacion, Salvador, Santos Mark Anthony, Singson Richelle, Sonsing Micaela Angela, Suntay, Tan Amanti, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tieng, Tolentino, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tutor, T. Ungab, Vergara, Villafuerte Vincenzo Renato Luigi, Villanueva, Violago, Yap Christopherson, Yap Edvic, Yap John G. Snell, Yatco, Inares, U. Jaisal Victoria, Zamora Maria Carmen.
With 197 members voting in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstention, House Bill number 7239 is hereby approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other business for the day, I move to adjourn session until tomorrow, February 4 at 3 p.m.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The session is adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, February 4 at 3 in the afternoon.